brought to you by Jamaica Customs Agency, country above self.
Hello and welcome to the Easter weekend edition of Sports Talk, Saturday, April 16. I am Daniel Blake. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're listening or watching, maybe you realize that something is a little off. I'm not in Love Studios this afternoon. Um, I'm in the comfort of my own home this weekend, but hopefully next weekend I will be back in studio with you. But thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you have a happy and peaceful Easter weekend. Thank you so much for everyone who are tuned in, for everybody who's tuned into the radio. You remember Love 101.1, point 3, point 5, point 7, point 9, anywhere on your FM band. Remember, you can also download the app in the Google Play or Apple Store and listen to me there. If you're sort of old fashioned, that's fine. You can go in your browser, love101.org, or if you want to see what's going on, you can tune in on Facebook and YouTube and see me. Hello, everyone. All right, so we have somewhat of a packed show today, but it's still going to be a great show. We have the head coach of Edwin Allen's girls team, Michael Dyke. They won their 8th straight ISA Girls Champs title last week. So we'll be hearing from him all of his thoughts about the entire program, the Clayton twins, if he plans to stay on. So we'll hear from him. We'll also hear briefly from Reggae Girls head coach Vin Blaine after they qualified for the final round of World Cup qualifying. So great going for the Reggae Girls. So we'll hear him after the match that they played at Sabina Park against the Dominican Republic this week. And I'll also be joined by Aiden Alexander, a young sports journalist, also a football analyst. And we'll be talking to him about some of those heated Champions League quarterfinal games. For those who saw it, some of those games were absolutely amazing. So Aiden watched it, I watched it, and we'll talk about it later on in the show. Even though I am not live, I do encourage you to leave your comments nonetheless in the Facebook or YouTube chat. If you want, I don't want to send you to WhatsApp and then I don't read them, But on Facebook and YouTube, so people can still see what you say. But don't bother be extra. Leave your good comments as always, and then people will see it. All right, so it is time for my monologue, which you guys know I call the Danielog. All right, so as I mentioned last week, the ISA Boys and Girls Championships ended at the National Stadium with Edwin Allen taking the girls' title and Kingston College taking the boys' title. By the way, we're not going to be able to sleep properly for the next year or so. The fact that KC have Manning Cup, Olivia Shield, and boys champs, oh my gosh. I wouldn't surprise if them all paint Garden House purple or something. Anyways, so that's not the point. So last week, if you are watching the championships, you would see that the stadium wasn't as jam-packed as it usually is. And there were several reasons for that. One of them may be because of the pandemic. Even though ISA got permission to have 20,000 fans inside the stadium, some people were probably still iffy about it, grouping up with tens and thousands of people. Maybe they didn't want to take the risk because remember, you no longer needed to be fully vaccinated to be in the stadium. So maybe some people saw that and say, well, maybe it's too soon. There was also an issue with the money. The ticket prices, depending on your situation, some might say it was expensive, some might say it was reasonable, some people might even say it was cheap. But at the same time, because one of the negative factors of the pandemic has been the financial situation. So maybe people felt that spending on champs was maybe not what they wanted to do, and some of the students may have been focusing on other things. So that was also a reason. But one thing that I saw people saying, especially on social media, and they were almost criticizing ISA for it, was the fact that the stadium was the way it was, not full to capacity or reach the 20,000 mark as the government granted, because of the change of schedule. Now, prior to 2020, before the pandemic came, the most full parts of the champs would take place on Friday and Saturday, because that's when the finals would take place. So all the sprints, the hurdles, everything. So Friday and Saturday would be jam packed. But what ISA did this year was to spread the finals over the 5 days. So the 100-meter finals took place on the Wednesday. The 400-meter finals, I think, took place on was it the Thursday, I believe. And so they ensured that, you know, there was not just this jam-packed Friday, Saturday schedule where they're trying to, you know, hurry up and get through things and then give athletes short time to recover, because we know that athletes do more than one event. And people were criticizing ISA and say, them should not change the schedule. Them never did a think about the fans, blah, blah, blah. So let me just get this straight. ISA decided to put the athletes first, because years gone by, athletes almost used to be run to the ground. People used to complain about it, like, why them can't get more of a break? Why them this and that? And ISA did its job perfectly this year in spreading out the finals. So we were not only able to enjoy finals on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday compared to the Friday, Saturday of old, but they were also able to give athletes enough recovery time, enough rest. So when they were able to compete in their second or possibly third event, they were almost at full tilt. And we saw a lot of records breaking this year because of that. So can you imagine people criticizing ISA for putting the athletes first? You can imagine that? I understand it's new for some people. I understand that, you know, it's hard to break tradition sometimes. But champs is not necessarily for the fans. I know that might sound a little harsh to say, but champs is to showcase the athletes. So if we're able to not only showcase but to protect the athletes and put them first, how can you be mad about that? You have a cuss off ISA. You have a cuss off them, this coach, that coach. Like, really? Really? Think about it. The athletes, for maybe one of the first times in a long while, were put first, and you have a complaint about that. But I, for one, would just like to give a whole lot of props to the ISA and even some of the coaches, because some of the coaches could have entered some of their athletes in some more grueling events, maybe letting them do some doubles and stuff, but they really didn't. And some of the athletes are better off for it. And as you know, the character trials are on this weekend. So some of those athletes who participated at champs could now come to Carifta, run against some of the best in the Caribbean. And who knows, they could run some incredible times, do some incredible jumps, throws, whatever it is. But there's certainly no way that you should be mad that ISA put the athletes first. So yeah, that's my Daniel log for this weekend. Hope that you enjoyed it and I never upset anybody. And if I upset you, So it go. All right, we're going to go into a break, and when we come back, we are going to hear from Edwin Allen's girls coach Michael Dyke on yet another successful championships.
Jamaica, taste it all. Yeah, well crispy fried chicken, please.
Yeah, with Pepsi.
2 orders of spicy jerk pork.
Yeah, with Pepsi.
Give me some cheesy patties.
Yeah, with Pepsi.
Hey, can I get extra curry gravy?
Yeah, with Pepsi.
Make me some fried escovitch fish.
Yeah, with Pepsi.
Taste it all. Yeah, with Pepsi.
Pepsi.
Building materials, we have it. Shop for lumber, ply, steel, cement, and a wide range of building materials and accessories at any of our 10 H&L Rapid True Value stores island-wide.
Lumber, treated, untreated, dress.
We have it.
Fly, Brazilian farm, Vintador dress, T111, decorative.
We have it.
Steel, corrugated, and merchant bars.
We have it.
Cement, carib, and white cement.
We have it.
H&L Rapid True Value. We're one of the leading suppliers of building materials and construction accessories. So you know
We have it.
Sports Talk on Saturdays is brought to you by Jamaica Customs Agency, country above self.
Welcome back to the Easter weekend edition of Sports Talk. Thank you so much for staying with us right here on Love 101. So, Edwin Allen making it look easy yet again. 8th straight Easter Girls Champs title, 352 points, beating their closest rivals, Heidel, who finished on 259 points. Them just keep going, Edwin Allen. And I was able to have a great conversation with their head coach, Michael Dyke, who spoke on the team's performances at the championships, the Clayton Twins, the field events, and even his future at Edwin Allen. So let's take a listen. 8th straight Girls Champs win. 9 in the last, 10 editions of Champs. I know that you've been asked this question maybe almost every year, but how special was this year's win for you and the girls?
Well, this one was, I'm considered very special because early on in the season, we started very late this year, and it was a major concern, you know, because we normally start around September, but COVID and other factors would have let us start the end of October, which was pretty late by our standard. And, you know, as we started, we realized that Idol was being touted as one of our main threats. You know, so we had to dig deep and make sure that we remain focused on stay on course to defend. And also we had challenges as it relates to, you know, support in terms of sponsorship and, you know, other contributions from you know, other areas. But we were able to hold the team together despite all the challenges. And, you know, you'd have seen the result.
Yeah, you just mentioned it because coming into the championships, many people believe that, you know, Heidel would get the edge, that St. Jago could possibly take some valuable points away from you. And speaking of some of those issues that you mentioned, how were you able to let the girls, you know, not get distracted by those kind of talks in the paper or in the radio, TV, social media, wherever it is, and focus on the plans that you set out for them?
Well, one thing, we always remind them that, you know, their focus should remain on following instructions and training, and leave all the other stuff to us as staff to deal with, you know. So focus on the job at hand for them. So we didn't allow anything that was being mentioned to affect them, you know. And we also always remind them that they are the defending champions. So we are accustomed to that, and that will always something that will come up, you know. So they should not be allowed that to intervene and affect them in any way.
Yeah, he finished on 352 points. Heidel behind on 259. Were you, I guess, surprised by the fact that you were able to win by almost 100 points, especially as we've been saying that people expected it to be a lot closer.
Yes, to be very honest, I was surprised in the end, to see the margin of victory because, as I said, Idol was being touted as one of our main threats. But when we heard the numbers leading the champ, we realized that once everybody remained healthy and things goes according to plan, we would not be the challenge.
Yeah, so the girls' Class 1 100 meters was the marquee event heading into the championships. Heidel's Brianna Liston, she was running some spectacular times prior to champs, so she was a lot of people's favorite. But Tina Clayton came out victorious and her sister getting the bronze. How pleased were you for the Clayton twins, especially knowing that this may have been the first time in their young track and field careers that people had doubts that they would be successful in the event this year?
Well, it was really hard to answer the topic because, as I said, Brianna was the overwhelming favorite company. And it was a result of our late start, to be honest with you, because we had, even though Brianna was there, so we started late after the World Under 20 Championship. And, Brianna was way ahead in terms of preparation. But knowing the champion, especially Tina, she's really a big time performer.
Mm-hmm.
And I have no doubt that once the championship begins, it will be a different kettle of fish for her. So I have no doubt that she would have pulled it off, regardless of the margin of victory. I know that was on the card.
Yeah, and I guess 11.23 seconds. Some people were disappointed, mostly because of the wind, not because of their personal performances. But many felt that 11.13 set by Veronica Campbell-Brown was going to go, that it could have even been the first time we see a sub-11 clocking at the championships. But we know that their season isn't finished as yet. So are you expecting Tina to lower her own personal best of 11.09 this year?
Well, it is very, very possible based on what we have been doing and where the season at this time, because last year at the end part of the season she ran 11.09 on the World Under 20. And we bear that in mind in our preparation that we'll have another version of the World Under 20 this year as well.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's our plan for her to go and defend, that title as well. So she would have started on a good note by defending this. I would able to defend the champ because she's first year Class 1. But winning the 100 of champs, and that's a stepping stone now towards the World Under 20 Championship. So it is very likely, as I said, it should have been a top 11, but but that's part of the game. That's how it goes. They have no control over the win after that.
Yeah. Yeah. So another, I guess, one of those questions that came up before the championships was the fact that the twins weren't entered in the 200 meters. Brandy Hall and Bethany Bridge, who represented you, didn't make it to the final. I know in the end that gamble paid off, but were you nervous at any point?
Not at all, because I made that decision from probably last year.
Wow.
Knowing the sort of depth that we were in that one. And I took into consideration that Bethany and Brandy, this could have been their final year, and we wanted to give them a chance to to participate in individual, in their final individual event and championship.
Mm-hmm.
And I know their capability as well, so there was no doubt. And despite things didn't work out the way we would have liked, I still stand by my decision.
Yeah. Just a note on Brandy and Bethany. Obviously, as you mentioned, their last year, not the way that they necessarily would want to go out. How are you able to encourage them afterwards? Because we know that these athletes do take these championships very seriously, and for them to not directly contribute was difficult. So how are you able to encourage them to let them know that they have a successful career ahead of them?
Yeah. Well, one of the things is I know Brandon to be very hard because she knew that she had a chance of getting a medal, getting a final medal at champ, going out on a good note. Bethany also was disappointed because Bethany was second last year in the class 1-200.
Mm-hmm.
And Brandon was the 100 winner last year. So they were looking forward to be very honest, maybe not beating Brianna, but at least getting, 2 medals.
Yeah.
Among them, which we did not materialize on. And they took it real hard, but the sort of stuff that we had things in place for situations like those. Where in case somebody had some mishaps or disappointments, we had our team counselors who were there quickly to capitalize on that and take care of that.
Yeah, the Class 1 girls 4x1 with the Clayton twins, Serena Cole and Brandy Hall, a world high school record 43.29. I guess these girls rarely surprise you these days, but how are they constantly able to propel themselves to run these record times in the relays?
You mentioned the record, but I was still somewhat disappointed because when I look back on the exchanges, there were 2. The second exchange wasn't as clean as it should have been, and the final one also there was some delay in terms of passing. So we could have seen probably a 43 lap or 45.
Wow.
Based on what I saw on the exchanges, so they would have done extremely well, and knowing that up to this point they would have been breaking record after record, which are basically Edwin Allen records, because to date I think we would have gone about 7 or 8 times running under 44. We are the only high school would have done that to date.
Yeah. I know that we've spoken a lot about the Clayton twins and the sprint events, but your team was superb in the field events. Class 3 discus champion Deandra Shaw, who lowered the record 3 times. Serena Cole, who was part of that 4x1 team, winning the Class 1 long jump.
And the triple jump too.
And the triple jump, yes. And who captured the Class 1 high jump crown. How much effort did you put into the field events this year? And were you, satisfied with the types of performances that you saw from your girls in the field events?
Yes, I was extremely satisfied because when I talked with my coaches, I said, look, we want to ensure that we have a balanced team, especially this year, because we know we were suspect, especially in the hurdle. So we have to make up ground so that when Ideal come with that assault on the Saturday afternoon, we would have had enough cushion to keep them off. And that's exactly what happened. So the throws and the jumps really delivered, and I must really say congratulations to those athletes and coaches who have done their school and themselves very well and assisting in defending and giving us a chance to win our 8th straight title at 9 overall.
Yeah. We know you are a great coach. We know that you have produced some superb athletes. 8 straight, as we mentioned, and this might even sound like a weird question in a sense, but are you still very much motivated to continue winning these girls' champs titles? Because you just the school just seems unbeatable. Have you thought about maybe trying another project, or are you fully motivated to continue with Edwin Allen?
Well, sometimes it becomes very challenging, because you have to be fighting with so many things, especially in the period of COVID. Fight with the virus and the different type of things that you have to abide by the protocol. Plus, sometimes some of the kids are not as disciplined as they are accustomed to over the years. You have a lot of work doing not only by coaching, but so sometimes I would, for a few minutes, consider probably moving on. But I don't reach the point yet where I feel like, boy, this is it. And the team around me is an excellent one. I have good support staff. The school administration is very supportive. The alumni. So I am still motivated based on the support. At this point in time.
Yeah. We know that you coach the girls very well, but seeing the boys at Edwin Allen, including people like Brian Lavelle, who's was very impressive at these championships this year. How happy are you to see the boys now starting to get some shine at champs?
Well, I am very happy because a couple of years ago, persons would say, whenever they say a boy, they say, but it's Edwin Allen a girls' school. So I am very happy because Edwin Allen is my alma mater and I felt bad. I know I didn't attend a girls' school. Girls' school, So it is really, we have always had boys, but not to this magnitude. And it is good. I don't think we are at the stage where we will challenge for the March Margaret Trophy, but we are building gradually, and I believe at some point, even if we don't win the boys' championship, we are going to get even stronger because we are now attracting better quality boys into the program. And I encourage them and say, look, don't allow the school to be labeled as a girls' school.
Yeah.
You have to step up. And this year you could see where our footballers would have stepped up to the plate and pull off a trophy as well. So I am pleased where the boys are concerned.
Yeah. Finally, the Carifta Championships, on this weekend at the National Stadium. Do you have any major expectations for some of your athletes there, or are you just hoping that they just do their best and whatever outcomes happens?
Well, to be very honest, I know they came out of a hard championship this week. So I told them to just go out and do their best. Don't do anything that will lead to any injury, but represent their country with pride and dignity and do their best. And we will accept whatever the outcome is.
Michael Dyke, their head coach of Edwin Allen's girls team, who just won an 8th straight ISA Girls Champs title. They just seem unbeatable, and obviously one of the greatest youth coaches that we have in Jamaica right now, and maybe ever. That's a debate that we could have someday. But we go to another break, and when we come back, we'll talk some football, and we'll hear from Reggae Girls head coach Vin Blaine and young football analyst Aiden Alexander. Stay tuned.
You're the reason.
This Saturday on Love 101, we will bring you a live concert featuring our very own international gospel music minister, Kevin Downswell, as he shares at Victorious Beyond the Grave, live from Canada. Join us on Love 101 FM, Saturday, April 16 at 8:15 p.m. as we share the powerful ministry from Kevin Downswell with songs we have come to love and enjoy, including his brand new single, Grace.
Call it grace.
Love 101 FM's
Grace brought me here.
That's Victorious Beyond the Grave with Kevin Downswell, Saturday, April 16 at 8:15 p.m. right here on Love 101, the family station.
When I come to the end of myself, Father, carry me. Father, carry me.
What should you be saving towards? First things first, pay yourself first. Have you set aside money for an emergency fund? It's important to consider how you will meet your expenses if you have an accident, lose your job, or get sick and you are unable to work. Save towards having at least 6 months' income for a rainy day. You'll never know when you might have an emergency.
This financial literacy tip was brought to you by Bank of Jamaica, building an inclusive economy.
Love 101 FM's Sports Talk on Saturdays is brought to you by Jamaica Customs Agency, country above self.
Welcome back to the Easter weekend edition of Sports Talk. Thank you so much for staying with me. Touching on some football now, the Reggae Girls looking to qualify for their second straight World Cup. They took a huge step in doing so, beating the Dominican Republic 5-1 earlier this week at Sabina Park to finish top of their preliminary qualifying group, you could say, and they now advance to the final round of qualifying, which is the CONCACAF Women's Championships, which take place in July, where they will go up against the likes of the United States, Canada, Mexico, some of the powerhouses in the region. The top two teams from those group stages will qualify for the World Cup in Australia and New Zealand. So we'll just have to wait and see come July. But after the game, Vin Blaine spoke to the media. That's the Reggae Girls head coach, and this is what he had to say.
Coach, congratulations. You are now into the CONCACAF W round. Take us through the game. Your thoughts?
Well, scoring first was the aim. We wanted to score as early as possible, and we did that. But then we lost our shape in the 20th minute of the half, and they played well. Dam Rep came at us and they were doing well. But then I recognized what the problem was. In second half, we made some adjustment. Our midfield was a little bit too open, leaving their two strikers in the pocket, and that was giving us some problems. So we adjusted that. We asked them to hold, and it did work in the end.
Yeah. Did you expect such a tough fight from the Dominicans, especially in the first half, though?
Yes, I didn't. Well, yes, I did, because they're a quality team. It's just that I think we allowed it to happen by not being disciplined in midfield. Our midfielders are running out of the pocket, and we had asked them to always sit at least one person. But it's a test for us. I think it was good for us not to just run over a team. So I think we showed a bit of resilience, and character, staying there and being patient. We went 1-1, We knew a draw would help us, but that's not was my that wasn't my intention. I came to win the game, So that's what we did.
Based on what we have now, you have qualified. So what's the next move? Is there anything that the team will be doing between now and then, or we just have to sit and wait for the team to come together in June, July?
No, as soon in the next 4 or 5 days, I'll find out the group that we're joining to go to Mexico. But the draw is on the 18th. So we'll know exactly who we're going to meet in Mexico. I will be looking games and camps that will replicate the type of opponent we'll meet. So we're looking to have a camp sometime in June because some of the players are still playing up to that point. So as long as we get that, then we're bringing players. We have some new players coming in to show up the team in certain areas. So that will help us a lot.
How good of a leader is Bunny? We've seen there she's put her arms around Kiki on a few occasions where Kiki came close to finding the back of the net, almost like a big sister and a mentor.
Mm-hmm. Well, the girls are very close in camp, they're having a good time. They support each other, so I'm not surprised when she did that. She actually wanted Kiki to score because she knows how passionate Kiki is about the game. So the type of leader she is, she encourages the young players and she wants them to do well.
4 wins, 0 defeat. In terms of your career success, where do you place tonight's achievement, I should say?
Tonight's achievement must be top of the list because it was top of the tables clash for us. I was always confident that we could get by Damrep. They did put up a good fight in the first half, but I knew that our fitness level and our organization in the second half would have gotten the better of them.
You said when you took over last year that you needed to earn the girls' trust. Do you say that after this window that this has been taking a significant step to do that?
Yeah, we're still working on it. I got the team in just a couple months, right? So I'm still learning personalities. I know the personalities of the ones I'm used to that I coached. But you have Juice Spence, you have Jade Bailey, Paige Bailey Gale. You have those girls that have just come in. I have to understand them. As I said to them the first time I met them, I said, I know I have to adjust and learn 23 personalities. They only have to learn one. So I'm still working on it. It's work in progress. We have a long way to go, a long journey. We're going to do and build on this win going into Mexico.
That was Reggae Girls head coach Vin Blaine following their 5-1 win against the Dominican Republic at Sabina Park earlier this week, which saw the Reggae Girls advance to the CONCACAF Women's Championship, where they have a chance to qualify for the World Cup in Australia and New Zealand. Remember, the girls made history back in 2019 when they competed at the World Cup in France. So they're looking to make it 2 straight. All right, final topic, still football, but it's about the Champions League. For all you football lovers or the sports lovers in general, some exciting Champions League games took place this week. Manchester City, Atletico Madrid, Liverpool, Benfica, Bayern Munich, Villarreal, and Real Madrid, Chelsea, all great games. So I decided to talk to young sports journalist and football analyst Aidan Alexander about those ties and the semi-finals to come. The most thrilling game, the Real Madrid-Chelsea tie, going into the second leg, we thought that Real Madrid would have had it pretty comfortable, leading 3-1, but Chelsea managed to overturn that deficit. But in the end, Real Madrid advancing 5-4 on aggregate. Just what was your overall assessment of the game?
My overall assessment was this Real Madrid team continues to look very beatable. And, you could say everybody looks beatable, every team is beatable. But I've seen in moments where, Ancelotti has been put to the test where, his initial starting tactics don't quite work out for him. We started in the first leg against PSG. They were very lucky that PSG had an absolute collapse in the second leg after going 2-0 up on aggregate. This one, Chelsea gave them, that third goal that Chelsea conceded at Stamford Bridge was essentially a gift. And, you make an absolute hospital pass to Karim Benzema, the most prolific striker in the world right now. He's going to punish you. And then with that, they gave them an absolute mountain to climb at the Bernabeu. They managed to do it. Real Madrid was absolutely shaken until, a beautiful ball from Luka Modric, and Rodrigo was able to latch onto it and send them to extra time.
So would you say that going into those semifinals, even though we're going to touch on that Real Madrid won't go in as a potential favorite despite all their history, the way that Karim Benzema and Vinicius is playing right now? Do you see them as potentially an underdog, even though it's hard to call a semi-final clash with Manchester City going in as an underdog?
I wouldn't go as far to call them an underdog, but definitely I would say they're not the favorite. Real Madrid being an underdog is a ridiculous statement in any context of any match. But I'd say Man City definitely comes into this tie probably with the at least in my eyes, the greater probability of winning.
When you talk about Manchester City, that Atletico Madrid game, that second leg finishing 0-0 after Kevin De Bruyne's first goal, well, the only goal in the first leg. They were under extreme pressure, Manchester City, in that second half. Do you think that Diego Simeone and his men will have some regret not trying to attack Manchester City like they did in the second half of the second leg in the first leg?
Well, I wouldn't say they're going to regret it, because I don't think Simeone ever regrets his tactics, because he keeps employing them. So I don't think they'll regret it. But if you ask them, they're going to feel hard done by what they refer to as time wasting from Manchester City. Even though it's people point out that's what they were doing against Manchester United in their tie against them. But I don't think Madrid will regret what happened. I'm sure they'll feel hard done by. Maybe they deserved a goal, based on the fact that they were the better team in the second half of that second leg. But Manchester City overall did deserve to win the tie. They were the better team over the majority of the two legs, and you can't show up for one half and expect to come with a reward.
Pep Guardiola still not able to get that elusive Champions League at Manchester City. Like you mentioned a little bit about Real Madrid earlier, do you think that he now has a great chance of not only getting to the final, but seeing how his team has performed this season, that this could be their year?
Well, it's looked like it could be their year for the last maybe 3 or 4 years, but this year he'll definitely want it. I'd say it's gone in Man City's favor that Bayern has been knocked out. It's gone in their favor as well that PSG has been knocked out. We still have some very good teams ahead of you. You have Liverpool, you have Real Madrid. Villarreal cannot be underestimated. They're current Europa League champions. They're in the semi-final of the Champions League. They cannot be underestimated. So there's still a strong test to come, but I'd say that this year is almost do or die for City, given the competition that has already left the tournament.
Yeah, you mentioned Villarreal, who surprisingly knocked Bayern Munich out of the quarterfinals. We often see Bayern as a super team, I guess, taking a lot of the top players from other clubs in the Bundesliga, carrying them there. But this year, they just weren't able to get it done. Would you more criticize Bayern's system with Nagelsmann and the entire setup there, or would you give praise to Unai Emery for what he has been doing with Villarreal since he's joined the club?
I'd say definite praise to Unai Emery. Definite praise to Unai Emery. People forget how great of a coach Unai Emery really was because of his, blip of a disappointing time at Arsenal. He won the league 3 times in a row with Sevilla. He's gone to Villarreal now, won a Europa League with them, rejected a contract offer from Newcastle to stay with his group, work with them, and he's now in a semi-final of the Champions League after just beating Bayern Munich in the quarterfinals. Unai Emery has definitely done an amazing job with this team. It's a team that I have seen, play in La Liga. I know what they're capable of, and I'm really excited for that Liverpool tie because I think that's going to be a really good match.
Yeah, Liverpool will go in as favourites. At the end of December, many thought that Liverpool were out of the English Premier League title race, that maybe they didn't have enough to push very far in the Champions League, and now they are in the thick of every single competition, including the FA Cup this weekend, the Champions League semis, and the Premier League. We've heard a lot about the quadruple because they've already won the Carabao Cup. Do you think that they will have enough in the tank to go up against a Villarreal who, will be able to take risks in La Liga, knowing that, they aren't in any real title-winning positions? Do you think that Liverpool will just run out of gas, or do you think that they have enough talent and depth to get it done?
Liverpool definitely has the talent and depth to get anything done, really. They have a really, really good squad in Liverpool. I'd say it's not as straightforward as, just getting tired or whatever. There's a lot that goes into these games. They have Man City on the weekend in the FA Cup. They're still 1 point off City in the league. They have to make sure they don't slip, and they also have to hope for a Man City slip. So there's a lot that could go into in all the competitions they have remaining. They've already secured themselves silverware this year in the form of the Carabao Cup, like you said. But the quadruple is still on. It is still very possible, but it's definitely going to be a test for them.
All right, now that we have, expounded on both semifinals, I know that you don't have a crystal ball, but who would you say at the end of the season will be the Champions League winners?
I'm not really someone who likes making predictions because I'm kind of superstitious like that. But I'm a massive Pep Guardiola fan. I really, really love Pep. As a Barcelona fan myself, I really, really love Pep. I really hope he does it with City. I can't lie, I really do. And as a Barcelona fan, I would never want to see Madrid lift another Champions League trophy as long as I live. So I'd say I would hope, and I could see Manchester City lifting a trophy at the end of the year. Well, come June.
Yeah, and a quick word on the English Premier League title race. City and Liverpool neck and neck. We saw their thrilling game last week, that 2-2 draw. Knowing the run of fixtures that each team has, who do you have as a favourite to hold on and lift the Premier League?
As a favourite to hold on, you really can't count either of them out. I would say Liverpool has the harder run of fixtures left, but Man City will be worried by the apparent injuries to Kyle Walker and Kevin De Bruyne in their quarterfinal tie against Atletico Madrid. I hope it's not anything too serious. Those are two massively important players of City, so I really want to see them at their full strength, going for 3 titles that City are still chasing. They're chasing a treble. They're chasing the FA Cup, Premier League, and the Champions League. So I really hope City can stay fit, and we get to see a title race that goes down to the final day.
That was young sports journalist Aiden Alexander there, talking about the Champions League quarterfinals, what we can expect in the semifinals, and as you heard, we spoke briefly on the English Premier League title race. Unfortunately, that is all the time I have for today. Thank you so much for joining me on your Easter weekend. I know that you could have been probably doing one bag of things, but you decided to listen and watch. So thank you so much. I will be back, God's willing, next week, and I'll have yet another interesting show for you. I am Daniel Blake. Have a peaceful and wonderful Easter weekend.
Talk and stream all day when you activate any Prime Brata bundle for as low as $175. Enjoy local minutes to stay in touch with friends and family on the go or your yard. Yeah, you. Dial *147 number sign from your Digicel phone or activate in the My Digicel app. Digicel, made in Jamaica.
Celebration Church with host pastor Prophet Michael Carter invites you to Easter Harvest Crusade. Tag Expectations, April 15th to May 6th, 7 p.m. nightly. 1E Portmore Skating Rink. Call 467-1527. Easter Harvest Crusade.
You're the reason.
This Saturday on Love 101, we will bring you a live concert featuring our very own international gospel music minister, Kevin Downswell, as he shares at Victorious Beyond the Grave, live from Canada. Join us on Love 101 FM, Saturday, April 16 at 8:15 p.m. as we share the powerful ministry from Kevin Downswell with songs we have come to love and enjoy, including his brand new single, Grace.
Call it grace, grace, grace. Grace brought me here.
That's Victorious Beyond the Grave with Kevin Downswell, Saturday, April 16 at 8:15 p.m. right here on Love 101, the family station.
When I come to the end of myself, Father, carry me. Father, carry me.
So you've just heard Sports Talk right there with Daniel Blake. I still got a couple of minutes. I'm going to play this one for you. The name of this one is going to be Champion. Thanks to those who joined on YouTube and Facebook. Yeah. Love 101, the family station, the best station in the world, in the nation, across the area. Look here now. Let me start. Don't let me start.